tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you.
The RNC wrapped up yesterday with Donald Trump's long-awaited keynote speech that his allies claimed would focus on unity. He started by describing the failed assassination attempt on Saturday. Take a look.
Together we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side.
But from there, he quickly pivoted back to campaign Trump, attacking some of his frequent go-to targets. Take a look.
Eric, what was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here. But he was so great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble, and Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them and all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country.
Throughout the course of the speech, he reiterated several false claims about the 2020 election. And this speech was a convention record long 93 minutes. And throughout that time, he also hit on his economic record before COVID hit the US, his draconian border policies, and blasting Biden for rescinding some of those policies in the process, emphasis on some. And he also argued that inflation is currently at its highest level in history, despite that not being true. Cenk, you were there, you were covering it on the network last night. What do you make of Trump's speech? Did he heal the nation?
And let me tell you about crazy Nancy Pelosi.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
So a couple of things here, guys. First of all, speech went really well if you want Donald Trump to lose, as I do. So we're back in the ball game, not with Joe Biden, but with another candidate. We could definitely beat this guy. And so, look, after the assassination attempt and after Biden's collapse, like implosion, Trump for a second looked ascendant and unbeatable. And we shared with you guys stories. We didn't make these up. This is mainstream media reporting. Democrats were considering basically surrendering and just having Biden be a sacrificial lamb because they thought maybe we can't beat this guy. And I thought to myself, there's no, and not just to myself, but shared it with you guys. There's no way that Donald Trump is going to have enough discipline not to be Donald Trump. The whole point of this convention was, oh, he's a changed man. And now after this assassination attempt, he's kind and sane and nice. Go.
Except when his daughter wants to give him a hug, Cenk.
Yeah, that's right. He totally avoided Tiffany, didn't even return her kiss. It was weird, but usual for Trump. But the bottom line on the speech itself was it brought Trump back down to reality. because like it reminded us who Trump was. That magic that lasted for about a week is now gone. We all now remember who Trump actually is. First half of the speech, totally fine, talking about the shooting. The hilarious line that we showed you guys. And never gonna say this a second time because it's too painful. He's gonna say it 1,000,000 times, 2,000,000 times. He's gonna tell that story more times than anyone has ever told a story. Okay, so and oh my God,
it's gonna get wilder too.
What's that?
He's gonna get wilder and wilder. He's gonna be like, I saw the shooter. I heard the bullet.
Totally.
Like there's gonna be, I saw an angel. It came down to me. Like it'll only get more unhinged.
Oh, of course, I saw a Muslim celebrating in rooftops nearby. Like, and then, but after the shooting, my building was the biggest building in Pennsylvania. Like he'll just totally embellish. I'm with you, and that's. But the first half of the speech, he did not embellish. It was perfectly fine. I thought the firefighter thing worked really well. The outfit, right? Because everybody loves Corey that unfortunately died at the rally. And yeah, he's a Trump supporter, but like I don't care about that at all. Incredibly heroic, covering up his family when he took the bullet. So that half of the speech was great. Then, oh my God, the great meander began. And by the end, I mean, people were like, oh, geez, when is this thing gonna end? And I don't mean just us, I mean, the Republicans who came to see it, they're like, this is unbearable because he keeps going off script. And whenever he goes off script, he's ruining the point of this well-orchestrated convention, which was to show that he's stable and kind, and he just can't pull it off. Franny.
I like how it also sounded like he was reading it for the first time, like Discord, like it's Discord, buddy, Discord. Like he doesn't even know what the words that are coming out of his mouth. Like he doesn't understand that. I also think, look, beyond like, that it was boring and it was definitely like Trump bored with himself. Like he started to do the I sound like I'm bored of myself kind of thing, which you get. He is old as well. He's just more cogent than Joe Biden. But the public safety thing, Republicans are arguably running on like, oh, we were gonna be tough on crime, public safety. Look, our president was shot. With what? How was he shot? With not just a gun, but an AR-15, a gun that they have vehemently opposed doing anything about getting out of the hands of the American public, about putting any more, safety protocols on, right? Like, it's just incredible to me that the party of law and order and public safety can have their God emperor nearly killed by an AR-15, and they will do nothing to get guns out of the hands of crazed people or just guns that should not be in anyone's hands outside of a war situation. And we need to call them on that way more than we actually do. You cannot be the party of public safety and still have this many guns in Americans' hands, just period. But yeah, other than that, I'm like, well, who is he doing this for? JD Vance, I get, guys. Here's the thing, I might have disagreed. I saw some of your coverage about JD Vance's speech. I actually thought it was good. I thought it was like sort of relatable. I think it was, he played the down home populist pretty well, even though he's completely backed by venture capitalists. But yeah, Trump's was a pretty big disappointment.
By the way, you could watch those speeches on our YouTube channel. Because we did play-by-play at the convention. If you send us to the DNC, we'll do play-by-play there. And we might get a worse reception at the DNC, but it's gonna be interesting either way. TYT.com/team, the link will always be in the description box. Send us to the DNCs and check out those speeches and our play-by-play and analysis of them. Jordan, sorry, go ahead.
I think you made a good point. It was meandering, people were bored at the end. It was just a totally different vibe from the first speech. So let's take a look at some of the reactions that people and the media had to the speech overall. Take a look.
Did the speech go over where you were sitting?
Yeah, well, Savannah, we're waist deep in balloons now. It felt like it's kind of an effort to manufacture a bit of energy that was lacking at the second half of that speech. The first half, I saw a lot of wet eyes. The second half, I saw some closed eyes in the section that I'm in right now.
Even some of Trump's most loyal supporters, the Trumpomaniacs, as described by Hulk Hogan, apparently became restless and bored during Trump's hour-and-a-half-long speech. The Atlantic's Tim Alberta tweeted this yesterday: "I'm standing 10 feet from the stage in a sea of diehards, and some are getting restless, checking phones, stealing glances at the teleprompter, whispering about when it will be over." And other people even seemed to fall asleep. Take a look.
And this great Iron Dome will be built entirely in the USA. We're going to build it.
And while Trump is polling ahead of Biden, it was a blow to the Republican nominee, garnering a lot of critical attention. Chris Wallace stated, frankly, it was a long speech. It was a rambling speech. It was a speech by an older man, and I couldn't help but think that people that are going to be the happiest tonight are not the people at Trump headquarters, but the people, the Democrats, maybe at Biden headquarters, maybe at the headquarters of other people who think they're going to replace Joe Biden. CNN and Fox News also spoke to undecided voters after the speech, and they had a similar reaction. Take a look.
So I gave his speech a D. It started out great, but then he went into mistruths and grievances and attacks, and it just totally contradicted itself in terms of what he wanted to achieve with unity.
And how do you think the former president did in that speech?
I liked the beginning part, and then it turned into more of a rally speech. And I've seen 2 of his rallies in person, and then I got bored, to be totally honest with you. And I thought he kept looking back, saying, 4 years ago we did this. And I'm like, I want to know what's going on in the next 4 years. I'm tired of hearing what you did. I want to know what you're going to do. And so it didn't push me closer to him.
That, I think, is an interesting point. The speech at the convention is an opportunity to set the agenda, to lay out your platform and your vision for the country. Cenk, do you think Trump used that moment wisely? Did he capitalize on that?
No, it was definitely a huge miss, because at the end of the speech, people started talking about, hey, maybe Biden shouldn't drop out because Trump is so weak. And we're back to thinking how weak Trump is. By the way, Biden should definitely drop out. I mean, we have a race here that's the rambler versus the mumbler. And what are we doing here? Well, the first party to a candidate that can actually give a speech wins. So why don't we, the Republicans have no chance. Donald Trump is definitely their candidate. We have a chance. Just pick someone who can speak English and deliver a normal speech that excites people. The second thing you gotta do, that last guy that you saw there, that was the kind of the independent, he's actually a Trump voter, and he says he's probably gonna vote for Trump, but even he was super bored by it, but he actually made a really good point. He said, yep, what are you gonna do for me in the next 4 years? And that applies both to the rambler and the mumbler, because Joe Biden never talks about the next 4 years. He keeps, whenever they talk about policy, Joe Biden's like, I expanded NATO. That is gonna get you 0 votes. That is so clueless. That shows you that he surrounded himself with the elites and doesn't know how to appeal to the average guy at all. I talked to a guy in Milwaukee, he's 26 years old. He's like, rent went up by $1,000. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't afford the rent. You think he's worried about expanding NATO? These guys in Washington are so clueless. And then what's Trump's big policy proposal from last night? Nobody's talking about it, because we kind of assume that Donald Trump is full of crap and isn't actually gonna do anything he says. But you heard it there a little bit. He proposed Iron Dome for all of America, which I think would probably cost more than our entire GDP. But I'm curious, do you have a real plan, or are you just talking out of your ass, right? And even that though, that's not, hey, I'm gonna help you to pay your rent or get better housing or healthcare or wages. And all Trump's got is grievances, and all Biden has is, hey, Jack, no lucky. Come on, this is embarrassing. The whole America is embarrassed with these 2 options.
Yeah, I mean, picking up on that thread there about not like laying anything out, and his like big policy proposal about the Iron Dome. It's funny because if you actually look at the Iron Dome proposal, that came out of just a Trump ramble where he was like, hey, how come Israel gets an Iron Dome? We want an Iron Dome here. So it's a little bit of his America First policy. And if you actually think about it, it kind of speaks to where people are at when it comes to more wars for like abroad versus protecting, our homeland or like protecting this country. So he's actually taking a lane the Democrats are leaving out there, which is why is all of our tax dollars going to Israel? Why don't we have some of that money for here? And that's not the only way that Republicans have done this. They've done that with the term forever wars, right? Which you heard multiple times during the RNC. And you also heard a lot of crap talking about NAFTA. JD Vance talked about NAFTA, which again, Republicans are so in favor of free trade. They love corporate greed. They love the corporations can hop around and country shop to the lowest common denominator, whoever's gonna work for the lowest amount. They love that stuff, but they've taken up the fake populist lane. They've taken up the like fake isolationist lane. And it's because Democrats have left it on the table, because Democrats actually aren't countering with their own narrative and their own vision. And as you spoke to, Joe Biden is certainly not doing that. And that's what frustrates me to no end.
Yeah, last two things I'll say on it is that this is the part of the convention you don't see. And I read a great article about it, and I saw it with my own eyes in a lot of ways. I wasn't in the executive suites, but I saw all the lobbyists mulling around. So tons of donors and lobbyists, tons and tons of them were at that convention, and they were meeting with all the politicians and all of Trump's people. So all that fake populist talk that Francesca just referred to, is fake, because then JD Vance and the other guys all rush up to the executive suites and they're like, how did we do, donors? How did we do, lobbyists? Have we pleased you enough? I mean, this JD Vance telling me he's a populist when he's like, oh, I started a small business. Brother, you are a venture capitalist, okay? You're telling me that you're holding the bankers accountable. You are a banker. So these guys are frauds in 1,800 different ways. And finally, the Rambler should have known to make the speech shorter, because you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
I think Francesca made a great point. The Democratic Party has ceded ground to the right, especially on issues related to war, through however you want to look at it. The way that Joe Biden has handled the crisis in Ukraine, the crisis in Gaza, and even just rhetoric over the past 10, 20 years from the Democratic Party, it has become an increasingly militarized party, and that is antithetical to the history of the Democratic Party, what I think a lot of people want the Democratic Party to look like. So they have seized on that opportunity. You see it in the rhetoric. No new wars under Trump. Of course, they don't count any of the extrajudicial or unauthorized drone strikes, political assassinations, anything like that. I'm not saying it's rooted in reality, but on the Iron Dome point, how is anybody squaring those two? Because that is just a total handout to the military industrial complex without, to my knowledge, ever articulating what it would be for. What are we defending against? We're not constantly being attacked with missiles. We don't have drones, militarized drones flying overhead. The most recent thing I could think of that came into our airspace that created a national freakout moment was a wayward weather balloon. He has never laid out what a US Iron Dome would look like. It would just be a massive transfer of American taxpayer dollars to the military industrial complex.
Well, it's for the drag shows, Jordan. It just protects you against seeing any drag queens.
Don't give him any ideas, Francesca. He might do it. He might use that in his platform. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.